Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Cheers, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You get the Harris too.
I know, it's nice, isn't it?
I'll give this to you.
Those of you who've been here in previous years, and certainly last year, will remember that my main core message was that salmon fishing on the River Tay is every man and woman's sport, and that there's fishing available to suit all pockets. I did tell you that there were something like 3,000 or 4,000 fishing days available to let at a price of under £35. That was last year's message. You'd be surprised that I was, certainly, when the first call I got was from Mr. Salmond, who first of all wanted to know if there was anything a little less expensive, and I suggested to him that the only thing I could think of was that there was a river on which he could have a cast, a piece of river on which he could have a cast, which would not cost him anything, and he would get breakfast and perhaps a dram as well. He jumped at the opportunity, and therefore I'm delighted that we have the First Minister here with us today to formally open our wonderful river. Has been totally abstracted. For any of you driving up the A9, you will have noticed this dried up riverbed, not a drop of water in it in the summer months, and all of its tributaries are also abstracted. Now, some 3.5 years ago, Scottish and Southern Energy, who do that abstraction, volunteered or suggested that they might want to add some water into that river to bring it back to life after all these years. That decision, that was put to SEPA for a variation on the abstraction licence, and SEPA have been considering the issue and weighing up all of the conflicting interests ever since. But I am delighted to say that the most recent communication I've had with them make an announcement by the end of the first quarter of this year. And so, whilst there are a lot of consultations to go through, it does seem that after 80 years we're going to have a new river flowing into our wonderful system. That water will create something like 500,000 square metres of potential additional spawning. And we estimate that something like 2,000 to 2,500 more fish will go over that Pitlochry Dam for the first time in all those years. So indeed, it is probably the biggest thing to happen to the River Tay since the advent of the hydro schemes in the 1950s. So it's something for us all to look forward to. I know that you came here to hear the First Minister speak this morning. He's just given us a very entertaining and interesting talk in the hotel, but without any further ado, I would ask him, I should say just before I do ask that this time last year we had the first woman ever come and perform the opening ceremony on this river. And of course we followed it with probably the best season in the last 50 years, so we have a lot to look up to. So last year we had our first woman, this year we have our First Minister, and I would be very grateful now if you would do us the great honour of opening our river.
Thanks for the introduction. Can I say that after 80 years of waiting for progress, I'm glad you've only got a couple of months still to go. I was delighted to accept your invitation. I didn't even manage to get the free breakfast, ladies and gentlemen, but I got a cup of tea, so that's not so bad. Now, as you know, this is an ancient ceremony, and it involves me using this Quaker whisky to bless the river and bless the season. I've got to say, when I heard that the job that I had was to pour whisky into a river and across a boat, I had to say I was in slight two minds about the wisdom of this. So you'll understand, and I hope it's not a breach with tradition, if I take a wee sip on the way down to the river bank. But people were interested in my casting abilities. Well, I have to tell you, when Robert Burns came to Dunkeld, he got Neil Gow, the champion fiddler of the day, to whistle him up a tune. When I've come to Dunkeld, I've got 7-year-old Jimmy Stewart, the champion salmon fisher, to catch me a fish.
Hey! Well done, Jimmy.
But Jimmy was telling me a few minutes ago about the biggest fish he ever caught, a 21-pound salmon. Jimmy, can you show the crowd how big that salmon was? You see, he's learned something from his grandfather. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here to bless the boat, to open the season on the Tay. I wish you good fishing for the year, and between Jimmy and I, we'll give it a good start to the year. Thank you very much. It's the boat, and wish you all a good fishing season.
Well done.